Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we got to talk about Meta because Meta is complicit in human trafficking. Now that's according to the Attorney General of Florida, and here's what's going on. And before I dive in, I've just got to say, this news story honestly has really been politically charged since it came out, and I had to sift through multiple different articles until I found one that basically I considered as center and high factuality as possible, and it's an article that basically from an organization that leans right, not full-blown right or all the way QAnon or whatever, but they also have a high factuality rating from Ground News. That's a source that I use basically to vet essentially, what am I looking at, something from the left, the right, the center, what is it, blah, 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 far right, far left, etc. So it's something that I use, and if you're into basically accuracy in news, I highly recommend you check them out. I pay an annual subscription for that reason. Now, to be clear, this is not the first time that Facebook, aka Meta, has been involved in these kinds of activities or allegations as well. Now, if you're a long follower of mine, a long time follower, I should say, of my videos and podcasts and also my radio show, I've done basically videos, audio segments on my radio show on this very thing, not to mention the other ills that Meta has been charged of, including basically aiding genocide, war crimes, other things as well. Child trafficking, to also be very clear, is something we cannot take lightly. It's one of the worst problems that we have in humanity across the entire globe. Unfortunately, this topic has also entered the political arena, at least here in the United States. So it's incredibly important to be accurate, basically, so we can do the most good to combat this information or to combat this problem with good information. And so making sure that we have these sources, which is why I spent some time looking for accurate sources here, is important, because the last thing we want is something that's hyperbolic, that serves basically the purpose of doing no good or charging things up when it doesn't necessarily need to be charged. And here we go. And I've seen some very false articles here. And by that, I mean just completely overblowing the situations purely by statistics. So I think this is a huge thing. And so with that, let's get to it. And like I said, I vetted my sources, and this is coming from a local ABC News affiliate, KATV, who again was rated as leaning right, but with high factuality, which is the most important thing. And so with that, let's get started, because over half of the reported incidents of human trafficking in Florida since 2019 involved Meta platforms. Remember, they're more than just Facebook, and that is according to a recent survey by Florida's Attorney General. Now, Attorney General Ashley Moody shared these results this past Monday, essentially of this statewide survey, which went out to 80 law enforcement agencies across the state, including all 67 sheriff's offices, and revealed more than half of reported cases of social media use in human trafficking were using Meta platforms. We're talking Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp as well. Now, as of right now, Moody is calling for CEO Mark Zuckerberg to come to Florida and testify about the results before a statewide council on human trafficking. She's requested a response from a letter that she sent, and she's requesting this response by September 5th. The Attorney General also wished in her letter for Mark Zuckerberg to give testimony on what Meta plans to do to end this trend, according to, the results of the study. And to quote the Attorney General, "The findings of our statewide survey and other reports make it clear that Meta platforms are the preferred social media applications for human traffickers looking to prey on vulnerable people," end quote. Again, according to the Attorney General. She also called for Mark Zuckerberg to turn his attention away from launching new products or, quote, "wasting time preparing for a cage match," end quote, and immediately look into fixing this issue found in the survey. And quite frankly, I 100% agree with her. This appendage measuring contest that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk have is just children. We are dealing with children. Now, according to the survey, the top 3 social media applications that were used to facilitate human trafficking within the state of Florida were, in order, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. That is 72, 65, and 19 reported instances respectively since 2019. And if you think those numbers are low, we will get to that. WhatsApp, the other Facebook product, because they also on Instagram, as I mentioned before, had 5 cases reported basically in, for that time period, and Facebook Messenger had 4 itself. Now, according to a 2022 federal human trafficking report, It found basically that Facebook was the top social media platform used from 2019 to 2022 for recruiting victims into human trafficking, and that's again according to the Attorney General, or the Office of the Attorney General of the state of Florida. Meta platforms Facebook and Instagram also made up 60% of the top 10 platforms included in this study. Child sexual abuse and trafficking instances also increased in 2022, according to basically the news release. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's 2022 cyber tip line received over 32 million reports. Over 31.8 million were self-reported from social media platforms. And to be fair and very clear here, of that 32 million, and this is where a lot of people went off the rails, the vast majority of that is not actually trafficking. That basically encompasses a whole bunch of different things, including abuse online, sharing material, like child material that is illegal, and all those different kinds of things. All of it is absolutely horrendous. Do not get me wrong, but 32 million targets have not been snatched around the globe, thanks to Facebook being the majority of that. And so I went and looked at that report, and yeah, the numbers for Facebook and Instagram are absolutely outrageous. Discord is pretty high too, but nowhere near where Facebook is going. This is a very serious problem. But here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be direct. It's not going to change. And the reason why it's not going to change is because it hasn't changed since the very beginning. Essentially, the algorithms on Facebook are prioritizing anger. They've turned a blind eye to that thanks to whistleblowers. They've cut their responsibility teams, their ethics teams, and all of that. I literally just wrote about that, and I talked about that, I think on my last radio show or the radio show before that, where it's not just Facebook. They've all cut their responsibility and ethics teams, those that would be looking for things like disinformation, war crimes, trafficking, all of this. It's going to get worse. They are doing less now than they were in 2019 per all reports. And we are talking about reports from major publications. So this is a huge, huge problem that we are going to have. Mark Zuckerberg has no solid answers beyond, well, we're looking into it and we're, applying our algorithms to do this. They're not hiring the staff. In fact, they're cutting the staff that they should be hiring to look at this. That is their responsibility to society that they are failing on. And this is going to continue to be a problem. This is simply unacceptable. I don't know why Mark Zuckerberg hasn't been put into jail. And if you go Google, it's time to put Mark Zuckerberg into jail, or it's time to put Mark Zuckerberg in jail. And with my name, you will see the video that I made years ago on the litany of sins that this man and this company has had for years and years and years. It's absolutely unbelievable to me. And so by virtue of that, they absolutely suck. I'm not going to lie to this, and again, this is essentially what the state of Florida is alleging, understanding that we're living in a politically charged environment. But as factual as we can get here, this is a problem. Facebook appears to be culpable, and they're not going to do anything about it. And that's my opinion. And I think it's absolutely unconscionable to me. They should be basically shut down. They really should be, and not just for this, but for every other litany of sins that they have wrought against us, with no responsibility to basically caring for the society that made Mark Zuckerberg one of the wealthiest people on the planet. So basically, screw that guy. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter, where I will be posting this and calling Mark Zuckerberg out directly. Feel free to watch. And also YouTube as well, which not nearly as bad, but still bad. But social media is the necessary evil for marketing. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and just please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.